Hi guys, and welcome back to another video. Today we have Patriot Viper Blackout RAMs and this, Blackout Edition. And these are 2x8 gigs DDR4, 3600 MHz, and it says ready for Ryzen AMD. Watching other reviews and watching other stuff and hearing from forums and stuff like that, I would say, with my conclusion and everything, I would say this is a sweet middle when it comes to megahertz for the AMD Ryzen 3rd generation. Even though some of them mention 37, 33, but okay, let's stick to 36 for now. Now let's unbox them. They don't have RGB. This is something completely different that I'm doing right now. In the box you get, of course, 2 sticks and you get 2 stickers with Patriot Viper logo. Now let's open and let's check it out. They have a nice, they won't say blackout for nothing, and the design is really nice. Let's check. Okay, this is okay, so here we go. Now I understand why it's a blackout edition. It's completely nice. The heatsink is completely black and you have the Viper logo right here with a bit darker black. The top has, I would say, heat spreader or something like that. They kind of do look like some fins or something, but I think that's for better dissipation of heat, without a doubt. We're going to place them in a build, run some tests for you to check without the XMP turned on and with the XMP on, and make some conclusions. That's about it. Okay, so the benchmarks were basically, one with XMP disabled and one with XMP enabled, and we were running everything on the ASRock X570M Pro 4. Now I took them out just because they look really cool in this blackout color, right? I have to admit the design is really slick. So if you're, basically I would suggest these RAMs if you're going into non-RGB build. So if you hate RGB, or basically hate is a strong word, if you don't like RGB, then these RAMs are really cool. Just because of the design. We're talking about the design right now, right? Yeah. So okay, they look really nice when you place them in the build, and I think they'll look even nicer if there was 4 of them in populating all the slots on the motherboard. Now I ran tests in the AIDA 64 memory and cache benchmarks, and we were running and on the ASRock motherboard I had the Ryzen 5 3600X. The scores are actually very interesting, and you see the difference now between the lower megahertz and the higher megahertz and how they affect the transfer, the cache and stuff like that. Without the XMP, you can see that the read memory is around 30,000 megabytes per second and the write speed is 19,000 megabytes per second. The copy is 31,000 and the latency is 102.6 nanoseconds. L1 cache is 1600 gigabytes per second. That's read. The write is almost 800 gigabytes. The copy one is, well, basically it's almost the same as read, and the latency is 0.9 nanoseconds. Now L2 is 800 gigabits, the write one is 767, and we have the copy at 800, almost the same as the read. Now you see the difference between the read and write speeds. So basically these are the results. Read 51,000 megabytes per second, that's 20,000 megabytes difference, and as you can see they were running on 3600 megahertz. The write is 29,000 megabytes per second, which is 10,000 more. Copy is 47,400, so that's like almost 18,500 megabytes per second difference. Now the latency is lower for the memory by 30 nanoseconds, The L1 cache latency is the same, as well as the L2 and L3. Basically, that's it. The difference in L1, L2 and L3 is so minimal that you could barely notice it. So basically, you've seen the difference between turning the XMP enabled, turning it on in the memory, with the memory that actually supports higher frequencies, and now you might understand why it's good to have something like this. I didn't have any problem turning on the XMP, and they work pretty well after the tests. Everything was perfectly fine. So yeah, I mean, the tests show everything, that they work nicely at 3600 megahertz. These are the Patriot Viper Blackout Edition RAMs. No RGB, guys, no RGB this time. It says here ready for Ryzen AMD DDR4 technology, designed for the latest Intel and AMD platforms, XMP 2.0 ready. And basically that is it, guys. This was a small introduction to the Patriot Viper Blackout Edition. 2x8 gigabytes with XMP turned on. They go up to 3600 megahertz. So check out the links below where you could get these if you're interested in non-RGB build and some higher frequency RAMs. These are really cool, I have to admit. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe, because, well, loads of videos are coming, loads of tests, loads of reviews, loads of custom builds and stuff like that. Especially 2 custom builds coming in with Patriot Viper, but there'll be RGB. So you guys that are watching this for non-RGB, you'll be disappointed. Sorry guys, I need those RGBs in those builds. So thanks again for watching, and see you next time, guys. Bye bye.